What up? Here off top, presently I'm gonna talk off rip about a couple things, and I'll edit out the stuff that doesn't need to be in, and I'll leave the stuff that does. But overall, it's deep. I'm deep in reflection, deep in thought about life, about just this human experience that I'm having and that I continue to lean into. And this life is not about the moments where you're looking at where you are, but more importantly, you're looking at where you're going and who you want to be. And are you in alignment with that version of you? Are you consciously moving towards an outcome that's genuine and that you actually want? And I think that that's the toughest part about life, is engaging in the moment, but not being distracted by these obligations, these things we have to do to be a human, to survive and to live our lives, but also that we are on the genuine path for our life. And then having the acceptance around this. It's funny, like things play out in a certain way, and sometimes you think you're adverse to those things, or you think that if it only would have gone this way or that way. And in reality, this life it's not truly under your control, right? Like at the end of the day, there's a higher power. There's something pulling the strings, putting you in certain spots, and it's how you respond to that call, to that equation that puts you in the space that you are, right? And at the end of the day, I do feel like it comes down to loving yourself and respecting yourself and having boundaries around who you are and where you're going, right? Because if you just allowed everything to happen in the way that like things were being thrusted upon you, right? That wouldn't be a good space to live from, because you're reacting to everything around you. Unless the things in your life are there for a purpose and they're there for the genuine reason that they are what's called for you and what's correct, that's one thing, right? But in reality, your life is a conglomerate of like all of your past trauma, your past conditioning, your past experience, all of your life leading up to the point where you're singularly in the moment is a conglomerate of all of that, right? So if you realize that you're entering into this moment currently, presently, as a carrying forward of the momentum of your past, that getting to the place that you want to be is something that's totally going to be different and new than what you've already experienced, right? So to have the awareness to say that who I was is not who I'm becoming, and who I'm becoming is going to take some intentionality and some boundaries and some really like transcending a lot of the person that you were and the person that you've been operating in, right? And I think that a lot of people aren't going to understand. As you grow, you're going to lose certain people. As you grow as a human, like certain people aren't going to even like who you are anymore. You're going to outgrow friends, you're going to outgrow people, you're going to outgrow relationships, you're going to be a whole new version of you, right? And then you're going to attract other people, and then you'll outgrow them, right? And then hopefully there are some people along your journey who stay with you the whole time. Like for me, it's my mom and my dad. For me, it's very close friends, my brother, my sister, and those are people that I'm super grateful for, right? And they'll be there at any part of my journey, right? They've been there in the past, they'll be there in the future. And I think those people are the ultimate blessing of life. People who you come into contact with and they decide that I'm going to choose to be in part of your life through all of the eras, all of the seasons of who you are. Like truly, like they're going to be there. And that's what true friendship is. That's what true friendship is. So if you have any of those people, hold on to them tight. and they're going to be with you through the whole process. But what I want you to know is you still have work to do. You still have a ways to go, right? You haven't reached this point where just because your life seeks some improvement in some certain areas doesn't mean that that's the point where you stop digging in. That's not the point that you stop being disciplined. That's not the point where you say, I've reached my point, right? Your life really is just opening up, right? And you're on this path that's taking you to become in alignment with your highest self, but also get yourself to this place where you are even in a better spot, right? And I think that we all have this, we tend to attach, right? You tend to attach to certain things that feel good in the moment, that feel like it's what's meant for you. And you think that like, okay, I've arrived, right? And that's not the case. I think comfort and stagnation are the quickest ways to lose everything that you have and to not grow and to not become who you are going to be, right? And I think within all that, we see this really broken piece of being a human, which is comfort and stagnation, which are really beautiful parts. Comfort is, I think, essential to the human experience. Safety is essential to the human experience, right? We all have to feel safe and comfortable, right, to thrive, right? You have to have this sense of a roof over my head and these basic things that we need, right? But at the end of the day, like, you are seeking to transcend. Like, you're seeking to transcend this life, essentially, right? And have your spirit like live out the experience that you want, right? You're a spiritual being having a human experience. You're not just this flesh, like you have this spirit in you, right? And it's trying to do things. It's trying to dig in. It's trying to express itself through this life that you're living, right? And what you want to do, it's not that you aren't attached to these things that come into your life, but you look at everything as a blessing. And you look at everything as something that you're really grateful for, right? Be it that if it's something that's only in your life for this piece of time, that's fine, because that's what it was meant for, right? There was a purpose, there was an intention for this specific thing coming into your life and being there, right? And if it serves its purpose, you are grateful, and you exit that situation with gratitude, and you exit that situation with a lot of love, and you allow things to be, right? And I think that that's what you do when you have an encounter with the divine, is you realize that all of this thing, we're in this cosmic dance of interaction with human, with places, with other people, with animals, and you're all like meeting, you're crossing with certain things and people and places and things at a certain time in your life where you're open to certain things or where you're closed off to certain things, right? And then it's those people's job, or like there's this really karmic purpose, right? That everybody comes in, everything is happening on like a really intentional level that I don't think that any of us understand, right? It's something that I certainly am aware of it, right? That like I look back on my life and I say, this person was in my life for this reason, and this thing happened for this reason, and it's all led me to this present moment. And that's like a really beautiful thing, right? But if you think of even what you have now, right? Even the things in your life now are further going to be ultimately transient and ultimately something that you pass and that you outgrow and that you continue to move through, right? And that's like the most powerful thing, right, in this life, is this idea of ascension, of transcendence, right? I think it's the path that we're all on, and the path looks different for everybody. For me, it's quite much of a healing journey, quite much of a journey of learning to love myself, quite much of a journey of realizing my power and who that I am, realizing what I'm actually capable of. And I think that people who would love me and who have really like known the intricacies of my life would say that like a lot of people who have come into my life have maybe not treated me in a way that was in a reflection of who I see myself as, and the power that I have, and the greatness that I have, and the love that I have. And I don't say that in like an egotistical way. I say it in a very humble and a very grateful way, that like I'm capable of a lot and I can accomplish a lot in this life. And I think that, the few, I don't want to say few, but like the people who have come into my life and highlighted my worth and said that you are impressive, you have worth, you made me feel seen, those people are the ultimate blessing in this life, Those people are angels from above. Those people are sent from God to do something. And I hope that I am that person for a lot of different people. And I know that I have been. And I think that that's the element of like passing on like karma and like doing good in the world, is then taking in like, I have now received something special, right? And that special thing could be encouragement, or like a friend really speaking into your life, or like just something happening, like a clear sign that you're on the right path from God, from the universe. And like you being able to look at that and then receive it and then take it and then put it out there to somebody else, right? And I think that these things happen without even us being aware. Like you are passing that on and like it's happening in a very organic way. And I think that that's how life's meant to be lived. It's meant to be lived in this very like I said, it's this cosmic dance that we're all in, that we're trying to navigate and we're trying to figure out. And I think that sometimes like the less that you analyze it, that's like the better, right? I think that for me, I found myself really really drawn towards action, and really drawn towards, I want to do something with this situation. I want to take action. I want to fix things, right? And I think that that's the nature of man, is to step in to fix and to figure out and problem solve, right? And I think that a lot of things that are intuitive, that are very divine, don't tend to have that quality of even needing anything to be done, even needing anything to be tampered with or fixed, right? And I think that that's the nature of a growth curve that I'm in, is figuring that out and what that looks like for me. My ultimate dream is to be a healer, is to own a brand, a brick and mortar that can be franchised, which is called Paradigm, which will help heal people's mental health, help coach people to achieve their dreams, help people experience mental shifts and achieve their goals in a way that they haven't been able to, right? And I think that that's where my love and my purpose and my drive comes from, is in this process that I'm currently on, which is to have my own paradigm shifts and to heal myself, but also to impart that onto others and to make that into something that's sustainable and life-giving for everybody around me. And, ultimately I would say keep digging in and like keep looking at your life as, your life is like this, like I said, it's this cosmic dance, but like if you really look at like the trajectory of your life and you graphed it, or you painted a picture of what it would look like, you're in this right now, currently, you're in this very singular chapter, right? You're in this season, this era of your life that looks a very certain way. And I guarantee, I promise you that in 6 months to a year, you'll be in a completely different one, with completely different life circumstances, with completely different life problems, with completely different dynamics going on. And it's how you move through these things that's going to really dictate, is your trajectory in this picture looking towards who you want to be within your highest self, right? And that's where discipline, and that's where choosing to choose yourself, right? Choose self-love, self-respect, having routines, being disciplined on the things that matter. It's when you choose those things, you're choosing yourself, right? Essentially, you're choosing the path that is meant for you, is truly meant for you. When you're able to choose yourself amongst this wealth of options, amongst this wealth of life that is like, has this abundance of everything that says go, do, accomplish, be all that you can be, etc. Really, like, what ultimate self-love is saying, like, I know what I want, I know what I'm about, and I'm going to choose the trajectory that's going to get me to that thing in the quickest, most efficient way, right? So for me, if it's to have a business and to help people and to become a healer, it's putting myself on a trajectory that gets me there, right? Being disciplined, waking up, doing a practice that's healthy for me, eating healthy, working out, moving in a way that moves me and attracts certain people that would help me within those opportunities. So it's like, that's what that looks like for me. I think it looks different for everybody, but right, it's not just choosing the momentum of life, that whatever, like, because everyone is on some type of momentum. Everybody's on some type of like, everyone's steamrolling towards something, right? And I think that everyone, since they were a child, is moving towards a certain path. right? And knowing what that path is, I think, is like your life goal, right? It's your purpose, right? To discover where is my life leading. And then once you know what that thing is, it's you look at your current situation and say, am I moving in that direction? And then you have to ask, what do I need to remove or replace to fast track me to reach that point? And I think that it's a beautiful thing when you can look at where you're at and realize, like, damn, good or bad, right? You tend to over dramatize what you're currently going through, right? And I've done this throughout my whole life, right? Where it's like whatever it might be, like this situation's super stressful, or this situation's amazing, or like I love this thing, or like I hate this thing. And it's like, I think as humans, we tend to look at where we currently are and we overblow it. And we say that I have reached like this situation is like I can't, whatever, like it brings out certain emotions, it elicits certain responses. But if you really look back on your life and look at it in seasons and 6-month chunks or 3-month chunks, and you say like, holy cow, like look at how far that I've come, or look at how different this situation is when I look back even 6 months, when I look back a year, when I look back 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. And then if you take that and you can imagine when you look forward, and you apply that same principle, you say, what could my life look like in 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years? And you say, am I moving in the future direction in the way that I want it to look, right? And it's not like this big scary thing, right? I had a really close friend of mine once tell me, don't bite off more than you can chew, right? Break down your goals into bite-sized pieces and look at things in a more of like a holistic fashion. And if you really look at your life and the compounding effect of effort, right, you could take one step in the direction that you genuinely want to go. And if you take just a step every day, it doesn't have to like, you don't have to do the whole thing every day, right? But if you take one step and then take another step and take another step, the compounding effect of that ends up being exponential. And then eventually you reach this point where you are who you are, and you're on the path you need to be on, and you've arrived. And then you reach the point where you say, there is no arrival. I think that's the point that has hit me in the face lately, which is like, yo, if I look back on my life last year at this time, there are so many things about it which I found to be uncomfortable, which I found to be like disturbing, which I didn't like, and I wanted to change. And I said that I'm going to do everything in my power to get out of this situation. And I look a year later to present moment 2024, and I say like, holy cow, like I have literally transcended the experience that I was having before. And now my life is a reflection of what I wanted to escape, or what I wanted to move through as a result of the pain and the fear that I was feeling a year ago. So a year ago, I said to myself, I want to be I want a different living situation, either by myself or with somebody that I genuinely like. Bingo. I wanted to meet genuine, real, authentic people in alignment with me that were like, that were like actual friends of mine, that wasn't built off of like religion or anything. Bingo, I have that. I wanted to find a job that I could do that paid me really well, that gave me a sense of security, that would allow me to then go pursue becoming a healer. Okay, now I have 3 job opportunities that are somewhat in alignment with allowing me to have the freedom to focus on them, but also have the freedom to be myself and not lose everything that I am, right? And so when I look back and I say, what did I want to accomplish a year ago, and compared to where I'm at now, all of it has happened, right? So I think it's a testament to really being aware of what trajectory are you on? Where are you going? And knowing that like, as you move in that direction, that it's gonna take effort. It's gonna take a lot of you digging in to find that path and to find the way that you need to go in a really intentional and powerful way, right? But know that like these trajectories are very much dictated by fear, pain, things you want to kind of get away from, right? So, and I think what I tend to do is like find places where I can be inspired. Like, what's something that I love to do that inspires me that I could see myself doing in whatever 2, 3, 4 years? And like, for example, today I went on this hike and I saw all these people, taking like couple shoots, photography shoots. Like, right, I think it'd be amazing to have like my own photography, videography business doing that for people up there, right? And I think that when I see moments like that, it inspires me, and it can set something simple as an intention to one day become that, to one day be that. And then I think the more you can be intentional on the day-to-day within your disciplines, within the things that you do on a practical standpoint to remind yourself of where you're going, that's how you get there, right? And those practical steps that come in the day-to-day in the process. But overall, I'd say you haven't arrived, right? You haven't arrived. You still have a long way to go in life, and allow things to be and to unfold in a way that's natural and in a way that's beautiful and that makes sense, right? And realize that like things, just because something isn't unfolding the way that you necessarily want it to be, realize that like there is this divine timeline, I think, for everyone's life that is unfolding in a way that is genuine and real for everybody. And the more you can just have an acceptance around that, like, this thing's going to unfold for this person like this thing's going to unfold for me like this, and for them like that, and have an acceptance around that and not forcing things, everything will grow in a way that's sustainable and holistic and good for you, right? The less we can force and the more that we can kind of cultivate and allow like love and growth and power to come into fruition in a way that's like really genuine, the more that your life will look like a piece of art and less like a spreadsheet. And I think that's the best thing. That's the best way that I can describe it, is you want your life to look like this big, this beautiful picture that you're unlocking, and that you're like peeling back the pages and you're seeing all these different eras of your life, and you're saying like, what a beautiful time. Even in a moment that was really hard, even in a moment where it was really, really, really difficult and you had to look and you were just in darkness, you have to have gratitude for that moment and say like, there was a significant purpose for that, and that served you. It served you to be in that hole. It served you to be experiencing that darkness, because now the antithesis of that and the polar opposite of that is light. And I think that light always overcomes the dark, if you allow it to go through its natural fruition, right? I think that the darkness comes and we learn to work through it, and then we learn to allow light to penetrate it and to kill it, essentially. And then we come out the other side as a totally different being, a being that is just has a little bit more texture, right? I think it's good to have texture around the fact that you have experienced dark. I think that experiencing dark things, while I don't wish that on anybody, actually facilitates a lot of growth, and those wounds can then be a catalyst to go forward and to experience healing on a bigger and greater level. And I think that all of those things are things that we should be grateful for, right? All the bad seasons, all the good seasons, all the seasons where you're laying down soil and you're laying down hope and fruition, and maybe you might not see it, right? But what is faith? Faith is belief in the things that are unseen. And when I think about my faith and my belief, it's in most of the things that are unseen, and it's in the belief that the things that you can close your eyes, because what the world will show you is a lot of brokenness, a lot of twisted things, a lot of just culture is broken. And the more you can create that vision internally within what you want to do and then go forward and do it, but that is something when you close your eyes and those things that you see, those beautiful things, that picture that you want to create for your life, when you close your eyes and you see that, and then you start to manifest that, and you start to like make that into your present reality, things become exponentially better. So be grateful for the things that, all the times, the dark times, the good times, all of it, and realize that your life is unfolding in a really, really, really beautiful way.